Stock market today analysis for Aloha Friday, February 3rd, 2023. There is a lot of upward movement in the stock market. A lot of upward movement. And even though there's a lot of upward movement in the stock market, people with a lot more experience than I have, I hear these people not 100% convinced that the bear market's not over. So what would a person who has a full-time job, maybe some kids, potentially a spouse, some family obligations, some work obligations, what does someone like that, what should they do to try to make some money in the market, but do it with a little bit of certainty that you're not going to lose a lot of money? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that is exactly what I Have Success is about. The mission of I Have Success will help you out with this. It's to help you begin your trading journey by learning how to sell cash secured put options. Yeah, maybe I should take this part out, but that's me. I want to do this in a way that allows me to grow and improve in the process, because if you want to master something, teach it. And see, selling cash secured put options on stocks that you don't mind owning, the worst case scenario that can happen is the stock goes out of business. And if you put a little bit of due diligence in, you might pick a stock that's been in business for 25, 50, 100 years. It shows some fundamental things that will indicate to you that it has a high probability of staying in business, at least for the length of your lifetime. Now, to figure those things out, you could take a look at this download right here, Cash Secured Put Stock Selection Guide. I would recommend getting that. I would recommend getting this one, 3 stocks I sell cash secured put options on. These are not stock recommendations. They might not be suitable for you, but they are examples of things that you can look at. Use these in combination with a playlist that you can find in the description below this video. It says like option trading for beginners, or trading options for beginners, or options playlist for beginners, something like that. But beginners, I think, is in all capital letters. There's 5 videos in there, and with those 5 videos in combination with these 2 downloads, you're going to be in a position to start practicing via paper trading, selling some cash secured put options on stocks that you don't mind owning. In fact, you could, if you get assigned, you could do the wheel strategy and you could start selling covered call options. If you want to know more about those details, go through that playlist, download this stuff, and I would download these 2 also. A little handy dandy cheat sheet here, so you'll at least have a quick reference of what the option Greeks are. 1 sentence definition, just to kind of give you an idea. And then this one could be pretty helpful, because especially number 3. Now, you don't necessarily have to fully go through with number 3, but number 3 will help get your finances organized a bit. If you want to fully go through with it, by all means, do it. It will be life-changing for you, but not everybody has the drive and the discipline. But at the minimum, you can just get yourself a little more organized and start figuring out, like, how much money you have, what your monthly bills are, and give you a better idea of how to keep allocating money into your real trading account. So with that, all that stuff cleared out of the way, the last thing I'll leave you with is right up here at 4 minutes in this video. Get ready, it's going to be popping up. Boom, there it is. Just remember, 4 minutes. You should be able to remember that. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's easy to remember. 1, 2, 3, 4. When this video is over, go back, watch that, watch the link to that video, which is not going to tell you how to sell cash secured put options. It's going to explain why you should be selling cash secured put options. And those that know why have an easier time figuring out the how-to. With that, my friends, let's take a peek at what I got from We Study Markets. Now, I don't know. I mean, I like how they show some things that are going on, but to me, this is too sugar-coated. I personally like I like the raw, unfiltered, unbiased truth, no matter how hard that blow might hit me, right? And I feel like these guys, I feel like they try to stay on the positive note, and I think I don't think it's me personally. This is just the way I like information delivered to me. I just like it delivered with less regard to, is this positive, is this negative? Hey, just give it to me and let me deal with it. But so if you feel free to subscribe to that if you want that. But I'm just want to let you know that it's not a recommendation. I'm already subscribed to it. It's sort of handy for me, but it is not something that I would go out of my way to get. Just because, like I said, I don't particularly care for. I almost feel like they're trying to be super politically correct. But what was it that I wanted to point out about this? Okay, the latest data is a slap in the face to recession narratives. Right? Unemployment remains extremely low and falling. Okay. Whereas economists anticipated labor growth deceleration, labor growth to decelerate in January, it surged ahead, adding over 500,000 new jobs last month. Okay, all right. If that's true, why is it, I don't know if you have, but I keep hearing about all these mass amounts of layoffs. Huh. How is that? Does that make any sense to you? Did you hear about, let's see, Google layoffs. Did you hear anything about that? How many people did Google conduct another round of layoffs? Look at this. Angry Google workers stage protest over layoffs. Huh? There's a lot of stuff. Oh, Google layoffs. Okay. All right. Well, wait a second. What's this? Unemployment remains extremely low and falling. I don't get it. Was there any other layoffs? Did used to be Facebook? Did they lay anyone off? Huh, more layoffs coming, huh? Oh, layoffs, huh? Oh, let's see, earnings. Oh, more layoffs on the way. Huh. Layoffs? Oh, look at that, layoffs. That's interesting because right here they're saying the latest data is a slap in the face to recession narratives. Unemployment remains extremely low and falling. Interesting. Let's see. I knew about those two. Intel. Did Intel have any layoffs? Oh, okay. I guess they did. Intel warns officials plans. Do you want me to keep doing this? Cuts pay, bonuses, and other. Let's see. Apple. Did Apple have any layoffs? I think Apple might have been one of them that didn't have layoffs, or was it? Let's see. Apple layoffs. This guy supposedly he took a pay cut. I want to be surprised if somehow he's getting it rearranged so they can have some nice layoffs. Last resort type of thing. I heard that I heard something that these guys were avoiding laying off people because I guess they didn't hire on so many people or something like that. What was it? What were those other ones? What was it? Redfin. Oh, cut their staff by 7%. Okay, so here's my point here. Does this seem like a bit contradictory? There's all these flipping layoffs going on, but this latest data is a slap in the face to recession narratives. So who should you believe? Should you believe this recession data is a slap in the face? Because, they say numbers don't lie, but who inputs the numbers? Who calculates the numbers? Oh, people, huh? Do people lie? So, I don't know. Maybe these guys are lying. Maybe Redfin's lying. Maybe actually their company is doing great. Maybe all these people that are claiming to be laid off, maybe they're staging protests. Maybe those guys really weren't laid off. I don't know. So here's my point with it. You can't just read these news articles and expect them to. You can't just read them and just believe everything. You got to kind of put some stuff together yourself. And even in this same article down here, this article here, right, where they're talking about unemployment hits a 53-year low. Oh my gosh. Okay, because of all these layoffs, that's why it's hitting the low. And then what do they do? they turn around and they say right here, Americans tap 401 savings, right? Despite the positive employment news and falling inflation, a growing number of Americans are tapping their 401k savings for emergencies. A, a record 2.8 of 5 million people in the 401k plans ran to Vanguard Group and tapped their retirement savings in 2022 to cope with hardships such as medical bills, eviction, foreclosure, or foreclosure, the company said. That's up from 2.1% in 2021, and pre-pandemic average was about 2%. This increase in the number of people taking hardship withdrawals is partially driven to several government moves since 2008. Whatever they're loosening them. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's what it is, right? It's just because they're loosening the rules, right? But wait a minute. Wait a minute. What about the slap in the face? So I don't know. Like, to me, these these people would seem more creditable if they were calling this out. You know, if they were the ones saying, "Hey, some people are saying this, but look at this data we have down here. Look at all these layoffs." So I don't know. I'm not that happy with these guys, but I still kind of take a look through it. So if you want to subscribe to them, subscribe to them. I think the most important thing to get out of this is that you have to safeguard your thought process, your thinking. You have to safeguard that. You got to really realize that these people that you have no idea who they are, you don't know what their interests are. Just like the people on CNBC, just like the politicians, just like these mainstream, anyone, including myself. Like, you don't know me. You don't know what my interests are. So you have to learn how to think for yourself. You really have to, or you are gonna remain. Basically, you're gonna remain um, kind of potentially victim to, the suspect opinion of other people. You got to figure out how to look at data yourself and be able to uh, come up with some sort of decision, because you cannot trust other people. Nobody cares about your money as much as you do. So don't trust these other people. Take in their information and look at it all together. Hey, you say the economy's doing great. Well, what about all these flipping layoffs? How is that? And sometimes, do you want to listen to liars rationalize their lies? So maybe you shouldn't listen to some people. Once you figure out that, what you're saying doesn't really compute, instead of me trying to get you to explain your position, I'm just going to make some mental notes here that even though you got a fancy suit, you got a $100 haircut, and you got $40,000 teeth in your mouth, and you might look really pretty, the words coming out of your mouth are really ugly. So that's what I'm going to listen to. I'm gonna look at the beauty of your words. Are they matched with the integrity of what I see with my own eyes? Because I tell you what, your eyes are not lying eyes. Don't believe those gaslighters. Let's get into this. Enough lecturing against what I view to be the sludge of society. Yeah, you can probably tell. I don't like those weasels. But VIX futures, right? VIX futures, it's just down over the last month. We got increasing volume here, and but it's basically low, right? Who cares if it's up down a little bit? It's still in the low category. All three of our future indices had a down day, but that's nothing to what is it? What does that really mean? I don't think it's enough to really make any concrete decision. A lot of volume in that down day. Could it mean that it's like topping out? It's a possibility, or it could be resting just to go a little bit higher. We got the 10-year treasury yield really had a spike up today, pivoted just like it did here, pivoting off that 200-day moving average for whatever reason is bouncing up like that. And crude oil took a bit of a dive today. Right, it's been in between this range of about 72 to about 82, and it's coming down to test that lower 80 82. Personally, this takes a lot of practice. You can lose a lot of money real fast, but personally, I enjoy speculating in the crude oil futures from time to time. I don't. I kind of consistently will try to do some paper trades on it, but from time to time, I definitely like to put some real money trades on it, and I got spanked before, so you got to be careful with this one. If you learn how to crawl, then how to walk, and then how to run, right? Because you can definitely lose a lot of money. If you like the idea of like having win-win situations, check out the links to those different things I showed you in the beginning of this video. Be selling some cash secured put options on stocks you don't mind owning. Even though you're not going to make as much money fast, it feels great to make money consistently. Natural gas, look at that, still going down. You remember weeks ago I was talking about, hey, how much lower can it go? This is good to watch, to get an idea of what at some point it's going to bottom out. I don't know where, but could it go lower than zero? Possibly it could. The probability of it is pretty low. So we got this candle right here that there was like a bigger drop, but we had one here, and then look what happened. These candles started getting like thinner, right? Not as wide like this, and it's still dropping. So just to give you can pay attention to natural gas and watch that, just to kind of train your brain at looking at chart patterns. This one, I've heard this one in the futures world has a reputation of being the widow maker. So once I heard Eric Townsend say that a couple times, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay away from the widow maker. I'm having a hard enough time over here with crude oil. I'm getting all my ducks in a row over there. So the widow maker, good buddy Brent, gonna stick to. Not trying to. I'm not even married now. I don't want to make a widow. So gold. Look at that. Gold really had a sell off today. This is really a political type of metal here, and so that doesn't surprise me at all. It gets whacked. A lot of times it just gets whacked. If you want to research into what some people will call more of the tinfoil hat stuff, of manipulation going on, and if you don't like the word manipulation, if that makes you feel a little bit weird emotionally, then call it rigging, call it tampering, call it whatever you want. I don't really care, because to be totally honest with you, I don't need you to believe it in order for it to be true or not. You can disbelieve it. It doesn't make a difference to my pocketbook. I'm just trying to point out some things that might make a difference to your pocketbook, right? And just to believe that all these markets are just whatever CNBC says, good luck. Maybe the Easter Bunny will show up at your house, or maybe there's a lot more FTX going on than is being caught, right? Speaking of which, how about this? If there was no rigging at all, what is that? JP Morgan. Let's go with that. JP Morgan scandal. What do they have a scandal for? Oh, illegal trading. Illegal trading. Oh, let's see. Why are they fined 200 million here? Ooh, a different one, right? Look at this. They paid 175 million. What was that for? Oh, look at this. Why did JP Morgan pay 920 million? Look at that. Wow. Oh, that one's getting bad, right? Oh boy, you don't know what these dudes are up to, man. They're up to some scandalous stuff. We better leave that before get some people knocking on my door. Anyway, so just realize, just because people got a fancy suit on, just because they say some fancy words, just because maybe you got a blue collar job, doesn't mean these FTXers aren't criminals, right? They might not be. Don't assume everybody is, but definitely don't assume everybody isn't, right? Anyway, so we have a big sell-off here in silver, right? And these are paper prices. Can you get an ounce of gold at this price? I don't know. Try it out. Find out. Can you get an ounce of silver at this price? I don't know. Try it out. Find out. But Bitcoin's moving sideways here, right? Bitcoin, nothing tangible to hold with that, right? No counterparty risk. Now there's counterparty risks over here to the futures markets. There's not counterparty risk when you're holding a piece of metal in your hand, my friends. It is an asset that has no counterparty risk. Now, if you say that this doesn't have any counterparty risk, I guess maybe you could say what's your definition of counterparty risk? Because to me, needing the electricity to be on, that's a bit of counterparty risk, right? Needing some nodes doing whatever they're doing, calculating proof of work or whatever it is. So to me, that seems like some counterparty risk. Let's look at overall the daily markets that I like to look at. Now these we already looked at, futures. The dollar, boom, look at that, dollar pumped up, bam, dollar pumped up. Maybe that's why we saw gold and silver, boom, go down. Because a lot of times what happens with these futures contracts for gold and silver, dollar up, gold down, dollar down, gold up. So maybe that's what's going on. But this one is definitely political, right? That's the US dollar. It's an index representing the US dollar. And who issues that? The government. And if you say, no, it's issued by the Federal Reserve, they're not government. Okay, under your definition, but under my definition, you know, if all the Federal Reserve people get in front of Congress and Congress says, you know, thank you so much for all your hard work. We appreciate you, sir. Blah, 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 blah. Huh. You're talking to that guy like it's your boss. You're talking to that lady like it's your boss. So your good buddy Brent, I read between the lines, and I can, whoever holds the purse string seems to be the boss, right? Who's printing the money? Federal Reserve? So to me, that's my unelected ruler, in my opinion, right? And I know I'm not entitled to have my opinion anymore, but at the moment, I just did it anyways, even though I'm not supposed to. TLT has risen up, and then it's just been going sideways, right? We see it really trading sideways here. 20-year bonds. The VIX, we talked about that before. Just like, yeah, oh, it went up today, and it went up in relationship to what? It's been down. It went up. It's still under 20. It's staying under 20, and still until it starts getting back up here. I don't know if we have anything to talk about. Look at that flat 200-day moving average. VIX has just been down. So when the VIX is, what do they say? When the VIX is high, you buy. When the VIX is low, you go. But don't take that as financial advice. You know, you got to look at your own situation and all these type of things. Plus, you know, your good buddy Brent, man, I'm a cash secured put option seller. I sell cash secured put option on stocks I want to own. And then I'll probably sell some covered calls on them. But that's what I do, right? I don't depend as much on the VIX. I'm experimenting with a strategy that depends more on the VIX. But I tell you what, it's going against me right at the moment. And when I'm selling cash secured put options on stocks that I want to own, I just don't care because I'm okay with either outcome. On that strategy I'm doing right now, based on the VIX, woo, I do care about that outcome. So your good buddy Brent, I like to have the majority of my trades with outcomes that I'm happy with regardless of what happens. And I get it, I'm not making as much money, but I tell you what, when I need to roll out early for work, I'm a happy camper that I just don't care what happens. So here is our indices. All right, well, got a bit of a doji here. We got an actual doji there, that's why it's white. You know, it's a reverse hammer. Okay. Kind of a doji there, but all these showing me that, look, they traded all the way up here and selling pressure brought it in, traded all the way up here and selling pressure brought it in, traded all the way up here, selling pressure brought it in, traded all the way up here and selling pressure brought it in. What could that be telling us? Well, you know, maybe if we ask somebody with a lot more experience, they could probably get us some better information out of here. But nonetheless, I'm making do with what the information I have. So what this is telling me is a couple possibilities. One, it could be resting before it's going to go higher, right? It could be rest. It could be people bought during here and now they're selling to take profits. Could be a lot of profit taking. And what do I mean by profit taking? This is something that if you're not really clued into this is good to know, because when what makes a price go up? If you say, well, the company's doing good, nope. There's one thing that makes the price go up. The direct thing is money is flowing into buying the stock. So that drives the price up. And what makes the price go down? If you say, well, they had a bad earnings report, you can be a little more accurate. Money is flowing out of that stock. Selling pressure pushes things down. Buying pressure pushes things up. So if you buy to open here, if you buy to open, what do you need to do to close? You need to do the opposite. You need to sell to close. Just like shorting, right? Shorting would be the opposite. You sell to open here, which helps drive the price down a little bit. But you need to buy to close, which helps push the price up. Now, am I suggesting that this all this movement is just, you know, people covering their positions? No, I'm not. I'm not. I don't know what it is, but I'm just saying that is one possibility. But it seems like, I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know, across all four indices, maybe. Another thing that could be going on is maybe it's just like, you know, maybe it's kind of reaching the top and it's getting ready for a pullback, right? This has been showing some weakness for the last 3 candles here. That was a strong candle, but this has been kind of indecision candle. Now, it's still up here in this range. It can kind of take a rest. One way I heard it described to me is like when you're sprinting, you know, after a while, you need to slow that pace, right? This is a good. This has been a pretty good strong pace up, right? So it can kind of be slowing, just kind of catching its breath before it goes on higher. That's another possibility. Maybe a third possibility is that that maybe it's kind of reached the top and it's going to have a pullback. That doesn't necessarily mean that the upward trend is over. It could just have a pullback. Like in order for the upward trend to be over, you know, here's a pivot right here. Like here's a bit of a pivot here. Like it could to me it could pull back all the way down here and still kind of keep going up. So it could be a combination of those things. There's probably some other things it could be. But one thing for me that I look at is for sure is I take a little bit of caution. All right, just a little bit of caution. Proceed with some caution. A little bit of a warning. And let's take a peek at these different 12 sectors of the stock market. See if that's telling us anything that might be helpful. And it's probably going to be a combination of what we saw, because those four indices that we looked at, they're basically, you know, a conglomerate of all these. We see utilities really sold off. We see energy continuing to sell off. We see consumer discretionary kind of sold off, and it's just a weak little candle there. A lot of volume. I don't know if that's a lot of movement. We see the XLK. What was it doing? Actually, you know what? Even though I'm going to make that weekly chart, let's just take a look at the weekly. Let's look at the weekly. Because you know why? The real reason is because I kind of prefer looking at the weekly. I feel like I get a better idea of what's going on. All right, so over here on technology, what do I see? I see a W formation with this being lower than this, which is good, telling me it's potentially setting up for a possible bull run. And I see this part right here of resistance, it's made it past that resistance. So it's possible that just based on quickly what I see here over that 200-day moving average, even though that 200-day moving average is sloping down, look at 3 weeks in a row of increasing volume. Okay, that could go higher. I want to see it. It did cover, right? It did kind of break this. So next week want to see that and maybe get above this 150. So there's some bullish look there for us. Over on the healthcare sector, not looking bullish. Not looking bullish. But, you know, you could say, hey, look, you got your same W right there. All right. Oops. It's a little bit straighter than that, but whatever. Right? This lower than this. But then we need to see it go up and break through here. This sector is pretty has a fairly big impact on the SPX, on the S&P 500 or whatnot. So if this one starts showing us some more bullishness as well with this one, and over here we got that same type of W type of formation going on, right? Is it going to break through here? Kind of, it is, but it's not super strong yet. Right here, or somewhere right in there, I would say that's a stronger breakthrough. That's got the best looking volume right in there. Volume, you know, many times Greg from Master Trader is always talking about, hey, I've seen stuff move up on really, really low volume. So volume is kind of a secondary type of indicator. And I know Phil Grandy over at Phil's gang, he's going to rely more on volume. So your good buddy Brent's kind of somewhere in the middle because both of those guys got a whole lot more experience than me. But that's we're not seeing, where's some green bars there? 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 week, 5 weeks, 6 week, 7 weeks ago. Where we've got some way more green bars than red bars over here. And this one, they kind of need those financials to be moving upward. So let's see if next week going to be moving up. Same thing right here, right? Looks like, look at that low. So this is basically low, higher, low, low, higher, low, low, higher, low. That's looking pretty good. It's not really clearing this though, right? Look at right in here. It's like, it kind of is above it, but remember it's a range. It's not an exact dollar amount. But we still got that low, higher low, above the 200 moving average. How significant is that? I don't know. You know what I found out recently? Back in the day, the reason why it's 200 days, this is supposed to kind of indicate a year, and there's it was easier to do the math. I guess there's like 265 trading days in a year, and it was just easier to do the math on the before computers and things like this. And when they're drawing things out by hand, it was just easier to do 200. So a lot of these moving averages, they're just kind of arbitrarily in place based on what was convenient to do math, right? So it's just kind of like something that's like it's almost like a wives' tale, trader's tale, and people kind of stick with it. So does it really matter that's over 200-day moving average? Maybe, maybe not. But some people think it matters, so maybe it's good to know. Same thing we got here, lower high, but it's seemingly, look at it, it tried to break above that, pulled back. We gotta see it really break above. Oh, we got to break above here, right? And here's really right, came down. This is not the greatest W right here, but you know, it's sort of, we got a low, higher low. What is that? Telecommunications or something like that. Meta, Apple, I think Google's in there. Low, higher low. That's a strong one in the retail sector, right? You got that nice, more of a nice forming W, but it's got some work to get up there. Right, so try to form this W. It's not really good. Boom. Maybe here's gonna be his pullback. Maybe go up there. And so energy's kind of doing its own thing. But there's a lot of there's a lot of sectors in here that look like they could have a bit more of a run up. Right. This one we need to see that come up like that. This is it's kind of floundering here. Now this one, look at low, lower low. So we'll just make a quick count like that. I don't really see. That's not doing it for me. But we definitely got a low, higher low. This low, higher low. Well, at the moment, higher low. I don't know. It's fading. It's fading there. You see that W out of there, don't you? Well, that one definitely, right, breaking past that. We got this one. So yeah, we could get some more. We could potentially get maybe some more bullish action coming in. Right? Well, we'll see. Now, let's say, does that mean you should go all in? And you know, don't. Your good buddy Brent is never going to tell you that BS those Bitcoin people do. Mortgage your house, put it all in. This is your last time to get rich. Give me a break. Don't mortgage your house. Paper trade, right? Paper trade. Slow and steady. Be the tortoise. In fact, let me draw you a picture of a tortoise right here. Be the tortoise. Right? The tortoise. Be the tortoise. Look at that happy tortoise. A little tortoise tail here. Be the tortoise. There's plenty of time to be the hare. You can be the rabbit. All right, that's not the best rabbit, but you can be the rabbit later. Right? Be the tortoise first. Learn, get some fundamentals under your belt. Right? You're not going to go you're not going to try to fight Manny Pacquiao when you don't know how to box. So don't go and try to trade against professional traders. Now, if you say, Brent, I'm not going to trade against professional traders. How do you know? You don't know, do you? Where on here does it show you who you're trading against? You're trading against somebody. If you're selling something, you need a buyer. If you're buying something, you need a seller, right? So make sure your understanding is crystal clear in here. You heard of Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway? They're out making trades. You heard of these hedge funds? They're out making trades, right? People on Wall Street, they're out making trades. Have you heard this one before? If you're at a poker table and you don't know who the patsy is, you're the patsy. So if you come to the stock market and you don't know who the patsy is, you're the patsy, right? If you're watching this video to try to learn, you're one of the least educated people in the stock market. So make sure you got your fundamentals. If you're boxing, make sure you know how to do a jab. Make sure you know how to do depending on what hand you are, but the right cross, whatever, the right straight, or whatever, like I was always taught a 1-2, right? Make sure you know how to do a 1-2 before anything. You don't want to be flopping around in the ring, right? Just like you don't want to be flopping around under here, because the worst thing to do is like things are going good for a couple weeks, then all of a sudden, something changes and you don't know how to handle it. And not only do you not know how to handle it, you're at work. How about that one? Right? You don't want to come home and look your spouse in the face and be like, "Oh, hey baby, how did it go? How'd your trading go today?" "No, I don't want to talk about that." "Oh, why don't you want to talk about it?" "I don't want to talk about it." Right? Don't do that. I did that before, and I even have a girlfriend at the time. It was just straight up like I lost money, and I was like, "Dang, I don't even want to open my account." Right? So don't do that. Take things a little slower. Get the fundamentals down. Right, and then when you start doing some trades, some live money, risk a low amount of money. Put yourself in a position where you have a difficult time to lose money. And I get it. You're gonna have a trade-off. You're not gonna make as much money as quickly. But I tell you what, someday you might think back and say, you know what, that white dude on YouTube, you know what, he was right. He was right. There are certain strategies that, gosh, it was stressful. I was stressing out over it. And there's certain strategies that I didn't stress out over at all. So consider that the trade-off. You might make a little less money, but it's like really reducing your stress. And the ability to be at work or be at your whatever, your kid's basketball game, whatever, spending time with your child without worrying about the stock market. How much is that worth? I'm guessing it's worth a whole lot to your children. So give your children that. Okay? You guys have a fantastic night. Aloha.